Hello there. Here we are with issue 45, the bonus video. And let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about the Vulture class starfighter. So this is known as the Variable Geometry Self-Propelled Battle Droid Mark 1. It's 3.5 meters in length and 3.5 meters in depth slash height, or height slash depth. Its hull is non-metallic alclad alloy. It's got 4 blaster cannons and 2 energy torpedoes, torpedo launchers. It's an integrated droid brain, and it uses fuel slugs, which will come in significant as we go through this. So this is the, as I mentioned, the variable geometry self-propelled battle droid Mark 1, better known in the galaxy as the Vulture class starfighter or just the Vulture droid. It was a droid, so it could fly itself. As most of the Federation's vehicles and soldiers were Vulture, the Vulture droid was entirely automated, eliminating the cost and time-consuming requirements to enlist personnel and operate training programs. Instead, the Trade Federation preferred absolute control linked to a supercomputer housed aboard their massive Lucra Hulk-class droid control ships. Part of the design process, built by the fanatical Howard Chall Engineering Corporation, the Vulture droid had an insectoid appearance of most Z-Sharan designs. Z-Shar was a religious cult that believed in bespoke manufacture of the highest order, so Vulture droids was fitted with systems of the ultimate technical quality. Fuselage features multiple weapons. The fuselage featured multiple weapon emplacements designed for maximum impact and was contained with a compact hull that gave the enemy a much smaller target to aim at, so they were hard to hit. Armament and engines, as we mentioned, it had 4 blaster cannons and 2 torpedo launchers. Now this was modified later on, where the torpedo launchers were replaced with buzz droids, and in fact, he talks about that here. Later modifications gave Clone War era models 6 blasters and 4 buzz droid Discord missiles in place of the earlier models' energy torpedoes. So it could reach 1,200 kilometers per hour in planetary atmosphere, which was crazy, and it could also perform maneuvers that would kill organic pilots, so made them a very fearsome low atmosphere fighter. One of their few deficiencies, and this is kind of going to get into um, the fuel cell thing, was the lack of a hyperdrive. And due to their short range, it required them to return to their control ship, basically. So it was dual mode, so it could walk around like this, and perform support missions and stuff like that. But another thing that was one of its disadvantages, and talks about it up here, the fuel slug is designed to minimize the weight carried on the fighter, allowed for only 35 minutes of effective operational time, meaning the Vulture droids almost always had to be deployed directly from the control ship. This lost the element of surprise, something that would have made the Vulture droid even more fearsome. So yeah, it was kind of a problem there. And then, as we know, Anakin blew up the control ship, and one of the problems is that Vulture droids were programmed to self-destruct if this link was critically severed. So when the droid ship blew up, uh, they all just self-destructed. Unlike the battle droids who just like stopped moving, these things just all blew themselves up. So uh, pretty pretty much of a problem there. So let's talk about the behind the scenes here. So Vulture droids were made their very first public appearance in Terry Brooks' novelization of The Phantom Menace a few weeks before they were seen in an Episode 1 movie. Earlier plans for these mechanized fighters had depicted them quite differently. Initially, it was envisioned that the Trade Federation would have or would use a type of conventional starfighter piloted by B-1 battle droids, and LucasArts games would present the variable geometry self-propelled battle droid Mark 1 in that way, primarily for gaming purposes. It was only later in pre-production that George Lucas asked Doug Chiang to design a starfighter that would be a complete droid itself. So here's some of the ideas that they were tossing around for those starfighters. So there you go. That's all about the Vulture droids. Now we're going to get into the riches of Mygeeto, and if you recall from last issue, Mygeeto was part of the Triade of Evil, according to Palpatine. So that's pretty interesting. So the main thing with Mygeeto is that it's like a frozen planet, right? Very frigid, but it's got crystallized glaciers, so it's got a lot of crystals and stuff like that on it. So it makes it very valuable to have all those crystals. Um, One of the things with it is that the in regards to it, it's the only um, planet in its system that even has atmosphere. So it's the only habitable planet. So that's pretty interesting. Um, so any of the normal wildlife got driven underground when the first inhabitants came there to take over and all that kind of stuff. So uh, it was um, the smug Mygeeto was eventually secured by politicking of the Mun and their intergalactic banking clan. The smugglers responsible for the planet's initial discovery were unable to hold it successfully against the Neomodans and the Hutts, who traded ownership during a period of expansion for both races. The powerful and influential Hutts enjoyed long centuries of ownership, but with Hutt space far across the galaxy on the other side of the Outer Rim, their capacity to retain the world was tenuous. Once in their ownership and eager to ensure that the planet didn't change hands again, the Mun began a substantial period of colonization, ferrying millions of their mineral-rich homeworld of monoliths to the relatively short distance across the new territories to Mygeeto. Vast towers were constructed for these new settlers, giving them ample accommodation to which to count the billions of credits rolling from the sale of the many varieties of crystals, as well as the equipment and facilities that mineralogists and prospectors required to identify profitable new seams. So yeah, the Mun became basically the banking clan, and so anything to make more money, they were going to do. So talks about that here. So the crystal structures of Mygeeto, often mistaken for ice, give enormous value to the world, which sits high above the core in the new territories region of the Outer Rim. After its discovery, Mygeeto was fought over for centuries. Smugglers staked the first claim to the world, holding it successfully until the Hutt clans moved in and took control. A power struggle ensued with the opportunistic Neomodans, and possession of the planet changed hands a number of times before it was claimed by the Muns. However, the powerful political sway of the intergalactic banking clan and the devious nature of the Mun gave them ultimate control of the planet. Securing their claim in the Galactic Senate, the Mun surrounded Mygeeto with a hefty planetary blockade. Um, so yeah, that blockade would have cost them a lot of money, but they made so much money it wasn't even really that big of a deal. So it even talks about that in here as well, that it was like, I think they reference it as a drop in the ocean type of thing. So nothing too big for them. So yeah, the Mun. So basically, what the Mun did was they backed the. It talks about it here. So before the Clone Wars, Chairman San Hill was approached by Separatist leader Count Dooku, who convinced him to help finance a confederacy of independent systems, although Monolith hedged its bets by secretly backing the Republic too. Despite this, its alliance with the CIS led to both Monolith and Mygeeto becoming separatist strongholds and prime targets for the Republic. During the Battle of Monolith in 22 BBY, the Republic took the planet, but at great cost, as the struggle devastated the Mun cities and led the galaxy to the brink of financial ruin. The following year, battle was joined in Mygeeto as well, leading to one of the longest campaigns of Clone Wars, lasting for almost 2 years. So there you go. And then, of course, after Order 66, the Empire takes over, and it basically just snatches Mygeeto out of the hands of the Mun, and basically just used it to put Imperial soldiers and forts and bases and stuff on it. So because it was so valuable, the resources and stuff were so valuable. So the evolution, so to the design of Mun had a bit of an evolution. So the big thing with it, um, and you'll see in these pictures here, is this is one of the final scenes that happened at the end of Revenge of the Sith. So the design of Mygeeto went through a number of changes before it settled into the planet that finally appeared in Revenge of the Sith. At first, Mygeeto was imagined as a dusty desert planet, which merged with the concept for a crystal world. Its key appearance was in scene 133, a brief but crucial piece of the montage showing the execution of Order 66. This short scene took much time and effort to craft to completion. Detailed animatics were worked on for a long period before being handed over to ILM to realize for the movie, but not before a concept showing Ki-Adi-Mundi slaying a three-legged droid that was designed, discussed, and ultimately discarded. So um, Ki-Adi-Mundi, he was the guy that ended up getting killed in one of the montages. So you can see here, let's see if we can get this without glare. So you can see there, that's the desert planet they originally thought about, and then we have the Crystal World, and then that's him in battle, and then that's him when he was getting killed. So that's him, and just so you know what the Mun look like, there you go. Try to get them centered there. So that's the Mun. Um, yeah, so that's Mygeeto. Using cargo pods. So this is a bit interesting. So, of course, the big thing with cargo pods is it makes it quick and easy to load and offload stuff because you just put the cargo pod on. You don't have to do each individual thing into a ship. So that's one of the things. But also, there's certain scenarios where the cargo pods can increase the storage capacity of ships. Like the YT-1300, you can put these cargo pods. This is the most common type of cargo pod used for the YT-1300, and it just basically goes on top, and you can kind of see that there. So that basically doubles the storage space of it. That's pretty cool. So picking up cargo pods. So some of the ships would have like magnetic locks that would pick them up. So the Sea Rock Gazanti class cruiser, these transport ships have a cargo space in their midsection where containers can be stacked during flight. Some ships have a built-in system that enables them to carry external cargo containers without the assistance of a loader. These include the VCX 100 light freighter, which has a magnetic lock under the hull for picking up compatible containers. On at least one occasion, the crew of the Ghost, the VCX 100 used by the Lothal rebel cell, employed this as a getaway tactic. So if you watch Rebels, like first or second episode, they actually do that when they're rescuing some Wookiees. And I believe one of the Wookiees that they rescue is Chewbacca. So Chewbacca's been like kidnapped or put into slavery or whatever a couple times. Then they used drone barges, and the drone barges would be beneficial because um, you could have just basically like the brain cell part that would control it. Then you'd have the other section that would be a power plant, and then you'd put cargo pods in between, and you didn't have to have living quarters, or you didn't have to carry foodstuffs or anything like that. Uh, so that's pretty interesting. Um, one thing with um, these cargo pods on the YT-1300, um, they were sealed against the vacuum of space. They were suitable for a wide range of cargo, but are not suitable for carrying most life forms as they do not have an air supply or life support system. So if you wanted to, say, smuggle somebody in one of those, you'd have to have life support system and air for them to breathe. So, heat and all that kind of stuff. So that's interesting. Um, let's talk about the Gallo Free Yards GR series. So this would have been seen in Empire Strikes Back, and also I think maybe either A New Hope or Phantom Menace on Tatooine. I think it's Phantom Menace. There's one of these on Tatooine, and this you can see all the cargo pods up underneath here. So, although it was very slow, the low-cost GR-75 can transport a total of 1,900 tons. The Rebel Alliance made great use of them, as well as a number of Gallifrey PDT-8 personnel transports to set up Echo Base on Hoth. They also proved their worth during the rapid evacuation that followed the Empire's discovery of the secret stronghold. So, yes, you would have seen those in Empire Strikes Back. Um, and these are modular containers, and you'd use a tug for that kind of stuff. So, and then here's the tug origins. This is our behind the scenes here. So cargo pods and tugs were more widely introduced to the Star Wars universe in the games Star Wars X-Wing and Star Wars TIE Fighter. The CRX tug was featured in the role-playing books by West End Games in the 1990s, while the Republic tugboat appeared in several episodes of the Clone Wars. So this would have been the one from Star Wars X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter. This is the one with from Star Wars X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter Balance of Power. And this is the one from X-Wing Alliance. So there you go. That covers everything in this issue. So we completed all of the work that we were supposed to. And that's everything. Wraps it all up. Nice and pretty. Next time we have issue 46. And we're going to get our bottom turret section to include the turret, and then here's our window and a couple other pieces. Here's our glass, and as I mentioned before, I'm not going to be using the glass, so I didn't even pull it when I grabbed that stuff. So that is what we're going to be doing, or at least getting in our next section. We'll find out what we'll be doing when we get over to that. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. And may the force be with you always.